My next Patreon question is from Andrew, who wanted me to compare two Disney anthology films that sort of expanded on two of their classic fairy tale adaptations. Of these two Disney direct-to-video sequels, which is better, Belle's Magical World or Cinderella 2: Dreams Come True? Rather than telling a singular story, these movies instead showed a few different segments centered on characters from Beauty and the Beast and Cinderella, respectively. The reason is because these were actually episodes for television shows that never made it to air. Rather than let these completed episodes go to waste, they were edited together and sold as movies. But which do I personally prefer? I'm going to say Belle's Magical World. The episodes compiled here are just sort of mediocre and little more. For the most part, the characters are kept intact and the stories aren't too bad. There is an obvious message, which is force-fed to the audience, but I found Belle's Magical World to be altogether harmless. I can also understand why Disney decided there was not enough potential material to make a whole series out of. These are set after Belle comes to live in the castle, but long before the spell is broken. This creates a problem, and I guess this could be applied to Beauty and the Beast: The Enchanted Christmas too, as the writers are forced to write the Beast as still grumpy and entitled, but with enough of his softer side coming through. Two of the segments involve the Beast acting like a jerk, and Belle and the other enchanted objects trying to calm him down and him learning a lesson. There are only so many variations of that you can write. You could give more time to the other characters living in the castle, hence the episode revolving around Lumiere. Another thing I want to bring up is the music in Belle's Magical World. I recall The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, and Hercules television series attempting to retain the sound of Alan Menken's original scores. But for some reason, the music in here reminded me a lot of Animaniacs. I love the Animaniacs music, but it does not really fit Beauty and the Beast. I half expected Yakko, Wacko, and Dot, or The Good Feathers, or Read and Run to run across the screen. I should probably mention that there surprisingly exist two cuts of Belle's Magical World. When it was originally released on VHS, there were only 3 episodes and a few musical segments. For the DVD release, another episode was added involving Mrs. Potts. I only found this out after watching the movie on Disney+, which for some reason only has the VHS cut. I have no idea why that's the print they went with. Overall, Belle's Magical World was, like I said, a couple of mediocre animated show episodes stitched together. They even kept in the commercial breaks, funny enough. As for Cinderella 2, this one did absolutely nothing for me. To its credit, there is an attempt to have a framing device, but it's not a terribly interesting one. I did still care about the protagonist in Belle's Magical World, while Cinderella 2 seemed to zap the life out of the characters from its predecessor. The first segment has Cinderella trying to deal with the rules imposed on royal life, which could have been good, but there wasn't any substance there. The second segment has the fairy godmother turn Jacques the Mouse into a human, but he mostly just falls down a lot. I will say I did not mind the third segment too much, as it tried to develop Cinderella's stepsister Anastasia a little more and show a different side to her. But as a whole, that storyline still fell flat to me. There's also a subplot with the mice trying to play matchmaker for Lucifer the cat, which wasn't nearly as funny as it could have been. A lot of the dialogue in Cinderella 2 is incredibly on the nose and made me roll my eyes with how corny it all was. Aside from Anastasia, the characters don't grow in any meaningful way. In fact, Prince Charming somehow has even less screen time in this movie than he had in the first film. He's also voiced by Christopher Daniel Barnes, the voice of Prince Eric in The Little Mermaid, except he did not voice Prince Eric in The Little Mermaid 2, which begs the question what led him to sign on for this sequel instead. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments whether you prefer Belle's Magical World or Cinderella 2, and thank you for your question, Andrew.